second one. Hey, we're back.
Yeah, how's it going?
We are getting some last minute time together because Mark starts a new job next week. So this is the last time we're going to be together on a Monday for a while.
Yep.
So I may be doing live solo, or he may be patching in from wherever he's working from, and we'll figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
Or he'll have to patch in live solo.
Patch something, huh?
On solo.
On solo.
Well, we tagged a bunch of people last time. This time, we're going to invite rather than tag so that people can jump on. And today, what are we talking about? You want to give them a little... we're kind of on a little bit early because we have a commitment in just a little bit, so we have to jump on there real quick. But we wanted to make sure we got on, and we are excited about what we have to share with you today. So, do you want to explain a little bit?
So tonight we're going to talk about good cop, bad cop, and how it's important to not have that in your home, and just kind of explain to you a little bit about good cop, bad cop. Now, law enforcement, we do use that quite a bit when we are dealing with subjects. And just think, or if maybe an instance where you've had cops pull you over before, and you get a guy that's just a total jerk, and then another cop pops up and he's totally friendly, and who would you rather talk to? The total jerk that's going to give you the ticket, or the other guy who's just sitting there and he's kind of being friendly and being cool about everything and just not really in your face or anything like that? Well, we all want to talk to the good cop. We all want to talk to the guy that is doing the, just chill and everything's okay and everything's going to be okay. And that's what we're trying to share tonight, is how to be that good cop in your house, because we've all done it. We've all taken our children and talked to our children in a good cop or bad cop moment. I know that when I talk to my children, I could either be the good cop or the bad cop at one time, and I get more out of it if I'm the good cop, if I'm using tactics where I am first helping them understand I'm not very happy with their behavior. They need to know that. Good cop doesn't always make it like, okay, everything's going to be okay. It's not like that. Good cop will be very upfront with you. They'll tell you what's going on and what's going to happen. And it's the same thing with your children. You're going to tell your kids what it is that they need to do, or what it is that you're not happy about, and what they need to do to fix it.
That's one thing that I have to say about Mark is he is always been, for me, an excellent communicator. That's something that I really desired in a spouse and in my best friend, is someone that could communicate. That was something that was missing for me, and I really wanted that. And I remember just being astounded. We had been dating for a very short period of time, and we walk in from being out somewhere, and he said, "I can tell that you're upset. Let's sit down and talk about it." And I was just floored. I just couldn't believe it. So that, I love, you saying, have them understand what it is that you're upset about or that you are having issues with. That's the first step, is making sure you have clear communication.
That helped me reel her in, by the way. I don't use that anymore, but no, just kidding.
Whatever.
But it is important to communicate with your child, and that's a key to being a good cop versus the bad cop. Bad cops don't communicate. They tell, or they preach, or they really focus on the negative aspects of the situation. And being a good cop, yeah, there is the negative aspects of that situation, but you can make sure they understand that you love them still, but are disappointed in them. I don't know if you've ever had anybody in your life where you really looked up to them, and when they say, "I'm disappointed in you," you really felt that.
Yeah,
You
that's
really
rough.
felt that pain, and that was worse than any spank or anything that you could have gotten. Is when that person said that. A story in my life where we had a gentleman named Mr. Begay. He lived down the street from us, and he had always had this wonderful garden, just a beautiful garden. And I love beets. I don't care what kind of beets they are. I just love beets. And so I'd go down there and I would steal his beets out of his garden. And one day he came to me, and he knew it was me, but I would always lie to him and tell him, no, it wasn't me. It could have been a rabbit, with big footprints like mine. And so it wasn't a rabbit. It was me. And so, Mr. B, sorry about that. If you're listening to this, I know that you're probably not here on this earth, but I'm still sorry. But he caught me, and he was never cruel. He was never angry. He just taught me why it was important not to take his beets. He explained to me that his wife had some deficiency, and that the beets were what helped her with that deficiency, and that's why she did it. And it really made me feel really crappy to know that when I was playing a bad cop, or if he played bad cop, I'd never want to talk to him again. But I always looked up to him when he said, "Oh, I'm disappointed in you." That really hurt. And when he said that, I knew that I was in trouble. Same thing with my mom and dad. When they talked to me and they said I was in trouble and they were disappointed in me, that hurt than anything they could yell at me or scream at me and punish me with, because I always wanted to make them happy.
Yeah, so good cop versus bad cop. You've explained a little bit about how that works in law enforcement and why that works in law enforcement. But should we be doing that at home?
So playing the good cop, bad cop at home, and the parents kind of play against each other if you do it. If you play good cop, bad cop at home, you're playing against each other. Mm-hmm. And it teaches the child to parent shop. Because you don't always want to be the bad cop, and you don't always want to...
What is parent shopping? What is that?
So what parent shopping is when a child gets in trouble, and then they run to the other parent and try to get the other parent to get them out of trouble. Or they want to do something, and you tell them, no, you can't do that. And they go ahead and go to the other parent and try to get the other parent to give them permission. It happens all the time.
It's helpful, too, if you communicate when you have said something, because so this all comes down to the same thing. You have to be united as parents. And some of you may not be married to the parent of your child any longer. And reaching agreement in something like parenting, even after something like that, can seem impossible. But you've got to be consistent just in yourself, because if you say something and then you do something else, or you say something once and then say something different the next time, we're not perfect. No, we're not. But kids have a sixth sense when they can tell if there's a break in the fence, if there's a break in the boundary, they are going to sniff it out. We have this little goat named Pumpkin, and she loves to find her way out of places, and she will walk the perimeter of the fence. She will try wiggling through little holes. She'll try sticking her nose through the fence, through the gate. She'll try and wiggle. Today, Mark looked out the window and he's like, come see this, come see this. She had gotten 3/4 of the way through the opening in a gate, but her hips got stuck. And so here this poor little goat is trying to get through, and her hips got stuck. She couldn't get any further. It probably saved her life because she couldn't get out and escape. But kids are like that too. That's why they're called kids, little tiny goats, right? But they can wiggle their way through and find the gaps. And that's what they're looking for. They're going to pit parents against each other. Husband and wife, that is the most important relationship in your home. And so you've got to be united to be able to keep the united front. So the kids see, oh, okay, if mom says this, dad's going to say the same thing. And that's how you avoid it. It's hard sometimes when you just want to, or you feel differently than your spouse does about how something should be handled. What should you do in that circumstance?
Well, it really is important to know that this can be done just as a single parent. And I know there's single parents out there that are raising their children. I know there's parents that are divorced that are raising their children, and their other significant other or ex-significant other has kind of pitted them against you, or you have an actual parent in your home that you're kind of pitted against. It's consistency. It's always consistency. And no matter what the other parent does, you're consistent. You communicate with that parent, and you got to make them understand that if they are not consistent, the child will have behaviors, and it will be behaviors against them. But if you're consistent, if you are consistent with your child, then there'll be a consistency throughout your home as a single parent, as dual parents, when they deal with you. And it will be turbulent when they deal with their significant other, your significant other. So it's important to, one, communicate with your spouse. It's me and Molly talk all the time. We talk about how we have different opinions about behavior. We have, she's all about sparing the rod, and I'm all about using the rod. It's sometimes there's a difference and it's because of our difference in upbringing. It's the difference in, Molly's a naturalist. She likes to use natural means to heal. I like drugs. Give me drugs anytime. And so
you were a traditional school fan?
Yeah. Boy, that was a round that we went through. We argued and argued and argued, and obviously she won. But it's not about winning or losing. It's about communicating and about putting in we're adults now. We have to talk to each other and try to find a synergistic way to work with one another for the betterment of our children. And if you pit the child against the other parent, and that happens, then you're going to have a chaotic family life with that child. So it's important to always be consistent and not play the good cop, bad cop.
So when you don't agree, how do we handle that? We have found
Rock, paper, scissors works best.
We have found it works best if your children do not see your disagreement about them. They do need to know that you disagree and that it's not always peaches and cream. But when you disagree about how a parenting situation is handled, you want to do that behind closed doors. Get that resolved behind closed doors, so that they don't see the disagreement, because that's going to be their break in the fence. They're going to see, oh, yeah, I know who's on my side, and I'm going to go to them. So you want to take care of things, and you can't always agree on things, but you can make compromises, and you can find the most common ground to go on. So let's say our son Joe wants to go to a party Friday night, and you don't feel like he should, and I feel like he needs to be around friends, to be,
we've had this argument.
We don't have a kid named Joe, just for the record. But what do we do? What would be our...
So what we do is we talk about the pros and cons of him going, and I tell my spouse that these are the reasons I feel like he shouldn't go. I think these are the reasons that it's important for him to stay home. And then she'll present her side, or you might have persuaded her or him to see your side already. But it's about talking it out. Mm-hmm. And if there's not just a good enough reason or just reason for them to do or not do something, it's going to come out in that conversation. There's really never a non-bypass reason to talk about. So we always are able to justify why and I'm an arguer, but when Molly comes up with a factual basis of why something needs to happen, how can I argue with that? And I don't. If it's emotional, it's really difficult to articulate, but sometimes you have to listen and then allow those emotions to influence.
Mm-hmm. I really think that communication is key, and then consistency. Those are really the two things that will help you overcome good cop, bad cop situations. Consistency and maybe another C word, compromise. Consistency, compromise, and communication. Those are the 3 C's of avoiding good cop, bad cop. And then one other thing is pray together. That relationship, when you are solid in your relationship with God, it leads to a great relationship as a couple, a great opportunity for a great relationship as a couple. And so pray together and pray for knowing how to handle those tough situations. A family can't reach their potential without involving God. So that's the invitation we give to you.
Well, and I'm also going to extend that a little bit further. If you're having a situation where your significant other, your partner, your wife or your spouse, or just you're the only parent there, that prayer is still essential. And especially if you're single, pray to your Father in heaven. He'll inspire you. He'll let you know how He parents and how He is, and He's the ultimate parent. He never plays good cop, bad cop with us. He never plays good cop, bad cop. What He does is that He teaches us by us either making a decision for the good or for the bad. And when we go for the bad, we get natural consequences. And so we as parents sometimes have to allow natural consequences to take place, which kind of sucks because we don't want to see that happen, but sometimes we have to.
That's all I have to say.
Me too.
Thanks for watching this. Hopefully you're getting some value out of being a part of this group. We sure appreciate the support, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.